Hey everybody, it's Noah Wotherspoon. Welcome to the mobile Woodshed, first episode. I'm here with Hound Dog Henry, and we're gonna dig right in. I thought the first stop should be Maxwell Street, just because the other day I was, down in the basement, and I came across this CD here that a friend had given me a few months back. Robert Nighthawk, live on Maxwell Street, 1964. I think these recordings have been released a few times. There was one release called This Is Maxwell Street. There's even some video, I believe, on YouTube from this performance. I think if you type in Robert Nighthawk, Eli's Place, it's incredible. It's incredible to get to see him play a little bit. But if you don't know about Robert Nighthawk, he was a very influential blues slide guitar player, and Muddy Waters was one of his proteges. Who can say that? Muddy Waters, Earl Hooker, a lot of guys sort of were influenced by him, and one of the things that set him apart from other blues players, slide players from that period, was that he played in standard tuning, regular standard guitar tuning, where people like Elmore James, they were in, open tunings. So I wanted to take a look at sort of how I view their map, the Robert Nighthawk slide map. My mentor, blues, as far as blues guitar for sure, was a guy named Tim Arnold. And he, I think one of the first things he showed me was in this area. It was centered around playing slide guitar in standard tuning. And he would call this the Muddy Waters box, which is really, let's say you're in E. There's an E bar chord up here. And then you have your E here. And, you kind of see this L shape here, this top of an E chord there, and this E bar. And all of that Robert Nighthawk, Muddy Waters sort of slide playing is, I would say, centered around that little map, with a lot of notes in between, and I'll kind of get to that. So think of it this way: the top of this E chord, and this bar chord here, and the notes in between. And there was stuff going on too with Robert Nighthawk in the first position, down here. And also some single line sort of riffs, going up to the 5 note, the B. But let's get back up to this L shape here, and like Robert Nighthawk and Muddy would sometimes set up a tune, focused in on this area here. Let's say, Robert Nighthawk more so even seemed to focus on those little half note, half step, almost, very microtonal notes in between note areas. A lot of bouncing back between the tonic, the root note E, and the 5 note B. That defines a lot of it, and then, this first position business, sometimes sliding up to the 3rd. And a thing that I noticed Robert Nighthawk doing, more so than maybe even Muddy, was almost playing these 7th chords with the slide, barring across here, emulating this almost, but with the slide. sometimes during a tune, sometimes to sort of finish a tune, you know. Almost has a Hawaiian sound to it. You know, and if you haven't played a lot of slide guitar yet, or you're just getting into it, you know, a few essential things to know, elementary stuff as far as slide, would be, you know, usually a higher gauge string, you know, a thicker gauge string is a good thing when you're, you know, it gives you a thicker tone, obviously. And also, a higher action helps when doing slide, because if it's too low, you know, the slide's gonna clank against your frets. Which a little bit of that is maybe cool, but, you know, too much gets noisy. So those are things. And then another thing to remember is when you're playing slide, you want to be directly over the fret, you know, not in between, but your pitch is going to be right on top of whatever fret you're going for. Not here. You'd be flat. So yeah, you're on the rails, so to speak. So I'll just play a little blues to illustrate some of the things I've been talking about, you know, focusing around this L shape. And you'll notice when I'm, you know, I see that box there, but I'm also doing some chromatic stuff, connecting the dots, you know, between those two home bases. So, you know, and it's all, we're talking, you know, mostly pentatonic scale here, you know, but it's that below that box. So here we go. On the second cycle, it would sort of intensify and he'd focus in on this like single line, more aggressive. Wailing, like someone crying. So none of this is exact, of course. I mean, I highly recommend you going and finding, you know, this, the real deal, and you know, studying the details. I've never been able to copy anybody verbatim, nor, you know, should anybody, I don't know. But I've gone more for just trying to get at the essence of somebody, you know, and not that that's possible either, but I think you know what I'm saying, you know, just get some of that essence in your own playing. And so, yeah, you know, I just revisiting this stuff, I noticed on those turnarounds, you know, when it's going to the B chord, that he's sort of emulating someone going, you know, in B position, right there, but it's like Albert King would, you know, but he's going, or was another thing I threw in. He does these, I don't know if they're halftime, but they're kind of breaking up the rhythm. But or maybe it's double time within that slow blues feel. And the drummer's sort of playing off and flirting with the time there. So I hope this is helpful, and I highly recommend checking out Robert Nighthawk if you haven't yet. And you know, he had a interesting, mysterious, you know, scattered recording career. I don't think he ever actually came out with an album under his name. They would release collections later, like there's one called Stones in My Pillow, I think, that Delmar put out. But you know, he was amazing, and he had an incredible voice. And something I think about is that his guitar playing really mirrored his voice, and I don't know if that was deliberate or something that just happened naturally. But it seems like with a lot of the great blues masters, Otis Rush comes to mind, that their guitar was parallel with their voice. It had the same vibrato, for instance, you know, and Nighthawk's was very wide and mellifluous. Is that a word? You know? It was really shaking it. So, well, thank you guys so much, and I'm excited about doing this more and getting better at it as I go along, and I appreciate your support and checking it out. And you know, my goal is to, I think, you know, revisit a lot of these, you know, great artists and classic albums and recordings, and distill, you know, what I kind of see as the main, you know, the things that affected me or that I took away, and sharing them with you. And feel free to, you know, join the conversation and let me know what I'm getting wrong or getting right, and you know, we'll keep it going. So it's a lot of fun, and you know, you all take care, and I hope to see you soon. All right.